Things are looking up, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's see. Hi, Connie. Do you want to come join us over here on the panelist side, or you can just stay there and observe? Either way, it's up to you. I think I actually canceled a meeting that was in place where people were joining that one. So eventually they're going to find that they have to kind of circle right around. Okay. All right, Connie, hang on. I'll bring you over. Andrew, same thing. If you want to come join us on this side of the fence and talk a bit, then you're more than welcome to do so. Otherwise, you can stay in the script and just kind of come on that side. So perfectly fine. Either way. It's a cat and a piece of pizza, or is a cat on a rug?
It's a cat on a slice of pizza. It's in space.
Oh, that's fantastic. I don't have something quite as remarkable as that, but I bet
But didn't you had also a freaking cat like
I did.
GVDS?
Zoom,
Yeah.
when they updated everything, they took out all my backgrounds, so all of my custom backgrounds are gone. Man. So you'll just have to imagine like rainbow unicorns, and I think there was like a whole field of dancing bunnies with daisies with their faces, their happy faces. So yeah.
Oh my.
Okay.
I feel so exclusive here. I've never been on the panelist side of a webinar.
Oh, then there you go.
I was like promoted to panelist. I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about. What do you mean I can become a panelist?
You really want to show off that cat slice of cheese. I mean, you got it.
I got an even better one. Let's see if I can find it again. If you guys are more
in the meantime, while we're sorting things out, so for the uninitiated, this is a networking session. The last one we did this morning had 16 people in it, so this is more of an intimate one since in the afternoon. That's awesome. That works. And these networking sessions are pretty much that. It's to meet other people that are taking part in the Global Virtual Design Sprint, or they are alumni who you have done and so in the past. So if there's any Q&A that people want to ask, they can do so. This is being streamed live on YouTube so that if people want to catch up and they can't watch it currently right now for whatever reason, like say if other people are sleeping right now where Florian is, then that's perfectly fine. They'll catch up at a later date. But yeah, this is basically what it's here for. So for starters, we usually go through introductions, and I since it's such the four of us, I can do mine first, and then we'll just kind of do a round robin and see what other people are like. The difference is that you're going to give your who you are, where you're calling in from, or where your location is, what your main thing is, what you like doing for a living, or what you like doing in general. And then if you had an all expenses paid trip somewhere after COVID that I'm going to fund, so it's going to be on me, anywhere in the world that you would like to go, where would it be and what would you eat when you got there would be a good way of kind of putting it. So my introduction is that I'm Robert Scrobe. I'm this guy that does the Global Virtual Design Sprint. I'm also part of the prototyping community with the Dash, where you test an idea in the market for desirability before you even build anything. This is my 5th go around in doing this type of event. I'm very much about servant leadership and putting people on a pedestal and showcasing the best that they can do. I'm very active in social media. I have a son over there that's doing virtual learning, and I'm here based out of Dallas, Texas. If I had all expenses paid trips somewhere, I would probably go to Japan because I've never gone there, and I really do want to check out every single thing about it, minus the nuclear part in the north. I think I'd leave that off of my agenda. I wouldn't really want to go there per se. But that would be someplace where I would take a lot of pictures, try a lot of different food. I'm a big fan of sushi, so I would probably try to find a way to get in some of the houses to see what it's like. Though I do have to kind of avoid some exotic food because I've gotten food poisoning in the past, and I don't think I want to relive that for whatever reason. And that's what it's all about me. So the way this works is I'm going to call on somebody else that is on the call that hasn't introduced himself, and I'm going to go, in my view, I'm going to go diagonal left to Fatima, and she can kind of get into what she's all about.
Sorry about my sleepy voice and face, guys. I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. I'm originally come from Iran. I moved here near 10 years ago. I'm a design researcher. I recently finished my PhD. This is the 3rd time that I'm going to join GVDS. And
Oh, so
what
you are going to
else?
join us this time around.
I'm going to join. Yeah. I sent. I'm going to have another month of waking up
But
in the
it's
middle
going to
of the
be
night.
it's going to be different than what you had
1
seen in the
week.
past. So it's not it's not going to be this crazy kind of 4-week escapade of just going into like sprint after sprint. No, this is going to be very, very measured.
Just 1 week, hopefully. Yeah, but we will see. And I'm teaching at university and teaching different units like UX research, design, and these type of things. And what else? I have a toddler, and looking forward to work with you guys during the third GVDS.
How old is your toddler now?
She's 4 now. And
So I
she
imagine
still loves
it still loves the
egghead.
the egghead.
Yeah,
They fixed Zoom, so now I can actually do those. So I have to find that over and be the egghead again, so that if she wants to revise that, she can. By the way, it's perfectly fine if 4-year-olds kind of go in the mix when it comes to these kinds of calls. So if they want to trail in and see where's the Eggman, I'll fire up Zoom and Snap Camera and we'll go at it. So,
Cool.
So you have an all expenses paid trip, whatever you want, Fatima. I'm buying. So that's where in the world are you taking you and your family?
Oh, probably not my family, but I will go to Iran, travel to Iran to visit my family because I haven't seen them for 8 years now. So
Wow.
probably,
And when you get there, what's your comfort food? What are you going to be eating with them?
My mom's food. I will ask her to cook me whatever she likes.
Oh, she's going to be cooking like a week in advance. If she knows you're coming, she'll be like, "Oh, my daughter's coming," and and it doesn't matter if you've had like pizza on the plane and you're completely stuffed. She's probably going to say, "You look like you haven't eaten in years. Come, I need you to come." Yeah. Okay. So very, very good to see you, Fatima. I know it's 5:30 in the morning there, so I'm kind of keep my voice down, hopefully. But the way this works is I'm going to raise my hand since I've already introduced myself. So you have to call on somebody that you see in Zoom that doesn't have their hand up and has not introduced himself yet.
Tanya.
Hi, nice to meet everybody. So I'm Tanya Collar. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I actually lived for 7 years in Austin, Texas. So I was very close down to Dallas. But we moved back because actually I'm born and bred up here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Wisconsin area, but we moved because we were escaping the winters, but then we didn't realize how hot your summers were. So we came back to the Midwest. What I'm really excited about is I've been doing in-person workshops because I just really appreciate how doing workshops helps align teams, helps really enforce, and really engage people with collaboration and connection with teams. And it just helps get work started and get it done. So I've done in person, nothing like a design sprint though. So I was excited to learn more about that. So bought the book, did AJ and Smart's masterclass online. But to your point, I have never been actually done it. So I don't know how, maybe through connecting with you on LinkedIn, but, heard about your global virtual design sprints and was a little nervous at first because it feels a little intimidating being brand new and not having any real experience. So it took me a few weeks to convince myself. And then my husband just said, do it. Just who cares? Just try it. And so I signed up last night and I'm excited to go into this area because I love bringing people together. I love when you see light bulbs go off, when you are working with a group of people and they feel a new sense of excitement and and drive towards getting their work done, where it felt like they were just kind of stuck in these like useless meetings. So I love bringing that kind of structure to helping them understand what their problem is and how do we get that moving forward. And the design sprint seems like a really, really amazing workshopping tool. So, but yeah, so I'm excited to be here and to learn how do you do these virtually, and then just to meet people from around the world. I mean, I'm just so excited about that. So it's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
So you have an all expenses paid trip that I'm funding, that where you can go anywhere in the world. Where will you go, and what will you be eating when you get there?
Oh, I don't know what I'd be eating, but we actually had a trip to Australia. Fatima booked this summer that we had to cancel. And so, yeah, we were really excited to travel around and see all the amazing things in Australia. But I don't know, what should I eat, Fatima? If I came to Australia, what would be the foods that I should definitely try?
It depends. They are very different type of barbecue, definitely.
Okay.
But yeah, seafood.
Okay.
Probably for Australia, yeah, seafood is a great
Good.
choice.
Okay. So yeah, some lobster, some scallops, things like that. That's probably what we'd eat. So
you might like to try kangaroo, but I recommend seafood.
Wow. What does that taste like?
A bit different.
Chicken?
I'm not sure. It's more like a red meat taste.
Okay. Yeah.
Stretchy.
I know. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Like venison or okay.
Yeah. If it's in the lean meat category, I think it probably would kind of follow suit with that. But
yeah.
It really depends to the person who is cooking kangaroo's meat. So
is it
it's
usually
hard.
like stew, or how do you typically eat
more
kangaroo?
like a steak.
Oh, like a steak.
So you will barbecue the way that you cook it is more like a steak. So you will barbecue that, but it's really, I don't know. We can't do it because every time that we tried, it ended up become very chewy.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Well, maybe I'll try that when I go there.
So for reference, Tanya, both Florian and Fatima have done the GVDS before, some of them multiple times. So when we get to the Q&A, if you have questions about it, they'd be a good reference point beyond my talking mouth to kind of get some perspective. So hands up if you've done your introduction. And Tanya, you're the person that either has to call in Florian or Connie. Which one?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna do Connie because I'm interested in her dog dressed in a lobster costume.
We're saving Florian best for last, I guess. So hi, my name is Connie. I'm actually currently still a graduate student. I go to Carnegie Mellon University. I recently graduated undergrad in May, hashtag year of the COVID, in studying economics and music art performance in HCI. And so I'm doing my master's now and finishing in December. So I have like very little experience. I've never done GVDS, but I heard a lot about it, and I see Robert's posts on LinkedIn quite often about it. So I was like really interested, and I wanted to learn more about what was going on. And I guess like just part of the process and like what it's like to do something so wide and virtual, because I am still quite a junior in my career. I do mostly UX research. I've done stuff in like social robotics, workforce development, a little bit of gaming, and I think at this point I want to work in like kind of like social sector issues. So right now I'm kind of exploring and very interested in also just like learning how to collaborate and like learn how to like do a lot of the communicating, like what is the value of design, what is the value of strategy kind of thing. So hope to learn a lot from you guys. So thank you. I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to be here now that I think about it, but I'm here anyway. So
it's totally fine to be here. I mean, that's the whole point, is that you're supposed to, especially for people and students and other folks that want to explore different processes and kind of test things out. This is the perfect environment for it. So I tend to always say that you'll understand the base design sprint process done virtually, and then the idea with this is that the weeks leading up to the 19th, where the main virtual sprint happens, there'll be different activities that you can opt to do, like problem framing or lightning decision jam or other methods that other people are familiar with, that they want to go, hey, I want to get a small group together to explore this challenge and work through it, so that when the sprint week happens, the team that you're assigned to figures out they kind of make a decision on which direction they want to go, and then they use the kind of community activities to gather information, get perspective, and kind of go in that direction. By the way, Tanya, cats are welcome. So if the cat wants to like find a warm spot in your lap and do so, we have multiple members that usually Ken Soto has this cat that kind of does a preview and goes like this across the screen, and then eventually just sits down in front of Ken, and Ken just kind of goes, well, okay, we'll just do that. So
yeah, that's what he was. He saw his little ears popping up.
that's totally fine. Yeah. So,
Pets are welcome. All pets are welcome.
Yep, it's not a big deal at all. Okay, so Connie, I think you have one person to choose from. You only got one.
Yes. Florian. Best for last. It's okay.
There you go.
Hi. Yeah, my name's Florian. I'm located in Germany. So in the middle of Germany, somewhere like Kassel, small town. Where I'm coming from, I studied quite a few years ago as engineering economics, worked in the development. So actually I have nothing to do with design. I'm more from the development part. And I got self-employed about 4 years ago and do like innovation workshops, a little bit of project management, so that kind of area. Yeah, I was a design sprint virgin before the GVDS, the last one in May. And I just popped in at summer peers, Robert Stroke, and said, yeah, come on, I just want to explore something new, so don't worry. And Robert seems to be a little bit more structured this time, because I have to admit the last time I felt so lost the first 1.5 weeks. I was like, I had another German, who did already, and it's like, what is going on? What happens? I was like, because again, I had booked before, but nothing else, or so, because I just went totally unprepared there. But don't worry, everything is fine. It works. It's a lot of fun.
For reference, if the last GVDS we did in May was 4 straight weeks of design sprints. Wow. So the idea is that a different assembly of people were going to do each design sprint. But what I didn't anticipate is that there were going to be iteration sprints. There were going to be teams that that were still on their first week but didn't want to leave that team, and then they were assigned to it. They signed up for another week. It just became this mess where by the 3rd or 4th week, people were trying to cram as much as they could at the end. And people collectively took 2 months off from their lives to basically recover from the activity. It was just this maddening phase. So now I'm taking Lee Duncan from IBM. He's made the suggestion. It's like, let's just make it like one experience over a month so that you cover the pre-work, the actual work, the post-work, and then celebrate in a kind of compressed time frame, so that you're not trying to do too much. So this is going to be at a much friendlier, offline friendly pace, so that you can still take care of friends and family and cats and kids, and still feel like you're kind of doing something. So, cool. So I'm going to come back to you, Connie, in a second, because I forgot to ask you this question. But Florian, all expenses paid trip. Funding it. Where are you going to go, and what are you going to do what are you going to eat when you get there?
I was thinking about it. I would like to go to what you call it, Fireland. Is that right? The really south of Argentina. Is it? I don't know how you call it. We call it in Germany. It's like
Fire Islands.
Is it the Fire Islands? I don't know, but the
Fire
really
Islands.
bottom of Argentina. I don't know how you call it.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
And they said that Fireland sounds somewhere weird. I don't know. Huh?
Falkland Islands.
It's
Falkland
called Tierra del Fuego.
Yeah,
Tierra
the
Fuego.
Spanish put fire. So yeah, so it's the really south. I would love to go there because it seems to be very interesting, very awesome countryside. And I've been to Argentina once, and what I love to eat there is, on the one side, a really awesome steak. I'm normally not eat a lot of steak or meat, but I ate once in Argentina a steak, and I had to. You get a spoon for eating, because it's so soft, and you just like butter.
You don't need to fight the meat; it just basically comes off.
Yeah, it's not like the kangaroo, it's stretching and frying. Just
Cool.
and
are
also
buff.
like a little bit, maybe empanadas. You probably yeah. This is what I like to eat there.
I think this is probably the first networking we've had where we actually actively talked about carnivore type kind of meals. We're basically talking about different types of meat that we can chew on. So we have kangaroo, we've covered lobster, and we also covered like nice steak. So Connie, the question is to you. If you were to have a paid vacation, all expenses paid, wherever you wanted to go in the world, where would you go and what would you eat when you got there?
Oh, that's so hard. There's a lot of places. I actually have not been to Europe very much. The only country I visited when I went to Europe was Spain, and that was for like my high school orchestra or like high school age orchestra group. We like went around and we did a tour in like Barcelona and Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but otherwise, like I want to go to Europe, but I actually also really want to go to Japan. I went for the first time last winter, and it was like really amazing, and I want to go back. Mostly because I love a lot of like the food there. I also really love sushi and seafood. I visited during the New Year's, and I had the second tuna of the year, and that was a really fun experience. So I would eat those foods. I also really love fruit. I think my favorite food is fruit, and Japan is known for their ridiculously decadent, expensive fruit. So would want to eat that.
So the follow question to that is if you had to pick a fruit that you had to survive on a desert island, which fruit would you choose?
Oh man, that's so hard. Well, if it's a desert island, if it's a deserted island.
Let's make it a fruit basket. So it's a never-ending fruit basket.
Okay.
So now you can choose 5 different fruits in your fruit basket, and you're on that desert island. You're isolated. What are the 5 fruits that you put in there?
Okay. Well, assuming it's a small island, I would need some sort of water source. I think like watermelon's a safe, like healthy option because it's mostly water anyway, and it's very refreshing on a hot day. I love berries, so like strawberries probably. There's also I like lychee. It's also known as lychees, the little red Asiatic fruits. Those are really good. Um, Citrus foods are great. So like oranges, I could eat like a whole bag by myself. And then bananas because they have lots of potassium and they're very healthy for you. Maybe tomatoes actually, because tomatoes are probably the most versatile fruit. You can make them into sauce. You can make them into salads. It's technically a fruit.
So I have watermelon, strawberries, lychees, oranges, and then as a bonus, you either have your basket spitting out bananas or tomatoes, depending on your mood.
It's a random,
There you go.
It's a random mix.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into some Q&A. So this is an opportunity for people that are not familiar with the GVDS to ask questions both in chat on YouTube and as well in Zoom, as well as just speaking them here in the in this kind of networking event. So these can cover anything from the purpose of the GVDS to what you would expect the actual day. I can follow this up with screen sharing so I can kind of show certain things that are happening. Towards the end of the hour, I'll kind of look at the board where we have all of our participants. And Tanya, this is more or less for you because normally we have people kind of tell us what teams they're on and what seems to work with their schedule. So this will be a real time kind of like picking in terms of like trying to figure out what's what. So since the 2 people I see here that are new, and Andrew, you're also on chat. If there's some questions that you'd like to ask any of us, all 3 of us, like about the GVDS or anything that you want to ask questions about, you just go ahead and ask it, and then any one of us 3 can speak up.
Cool. Yeah, I think for me, it's a day in the life of, once this gets kicked off, and I know we gave our times of when we're available, but maybe I don't know if it really differs week by week. It sounds like there is a particular week that is a lot more busy than the other ones, but maybe just a high level kind of a day in the life of, what that looks like. Just so I can also prepare, work wise and other commitments.
Okay. That's a perfect question because I'll go ahead and I'll do some screen sharing because there's actually an answer that's already pre-written for you. So hang on a second. So I'm not sure if you've seen this. This is from the actual, this is from the website that's over on virtualdesignsprint.com. This kind of gives an overview of what to expect each week for at least the 5th one. So we're going to have a little bit of a commencement kickoff, kind of a list of all the teams, all the challenges, that basically some central page where people can see everything. And it's probably going to be on this website too. It'll just be a link. Then the following week is where you start doing SME interviews and researching the problem space and looking for things to kind of go into. You'll be, for those who are doing the dash, which is prototyping, they'll be kind of thinking about opportunities, looking at audiences and doing some prelim information on that. And then the 19th is where you actually do your virtual design sprints, and there'll be an actual recipe like Monday through Friday of a recommended set of events. The difference is that for this week, we're trying to encourage people to only spend 90 minutes together online where possible, 2 hours at the max. This is just so that there's more asynchronous communication and small group communication where it needs to be, and it's much more schedule friendly. Finally, on the last week of October, right before Halloween, we're going to wrap up sessions with user interviews, iteration sprints. If you're doing dashes, then you're going to do some new experiments to kind of further what you had done with testing the market for desirability. All that's going to lead to the last week, which is it's voluntary, where we're going to showcase the work that's been done this past month. So this is a chance for the team to get together and say, this is what the conclusion we came up with. These are the exercises. This is the work that we had done, and we broadcast this like we're doing on YouTube and restream it to things like Periscope and other platforms, so that it's recorded what people have done, and I can use that as an example of where people have gone. But it's also to point to people to say, this is what I'm capable of. This is an example of my work. This is an example of how I work with teams. And it's a kind of a proof positive that this kind of dynamic, you can work in this kind of dynamic online with other people. One thing that we're doing for this one is that I'm doing some heavy social media teaching. There's already I would say a link to a video that goes into social media and how to leverage it for the GVDS. In fact, this is the resources page, and we're building out all of these videos, some of them with previous participants to kind of explain what Monday and Tuesday is like. We just did Wednesday and Thursday today. So this is a page where you can go in and learn about different things. A day in the life, though, it should probably come from either Florian or from Fatima, since I'm just giving you a high-level organizational view. So maybe we could start with you, Florian, in terms of what you should probably expect from a virtual design sprint in terms of like the week. What kinds of activities, what kind of dynamics happen in your experience? And then you can take it from there.
Yes. And now you see my camera. Okay, good. Just out of my experience, see what I missed actually was the whole problem framing in the first part, but it doesn't matter. That is new for me too. Kind of what we kind of started with is kind of really a small kickoff. You get to know each other, and then we kind of really dive directly into it, and to kind of see, okay, what kind of problem we actually want to solve. Yeah. So that was more or less what I can remember, the first kind of step. And then and the good thing is that kind of everybody, and that's what I kind of loved about working online, that everybody participates, everybody contributes. And maybe when you later see Robert and Sandy Lam's mural boards, that is awesome and works perfectly, right? So that is actually really what I was kind of amazed and didn't know before, was that really these tack. So I had no time to think, which was on the one thing where I was really confused after this 1.5 hours. I was like, my brain was lost. But when you get to learn, when you get used to it and understand, for me it's fantastic, and there's something really I learned for the future, because that makes everybody participates, everybody's on fire, time flies, and that is something you can take away also for your workshops. So this is what I kind of experienced in the beginning, which kind of was really for me, wow. Yeah, and that is actually what we did. So we actually did kind of see what the problem is, right? Then we kind of said, okay, what is actually the main problem we want to solve? And then we went to, in the idea generation, said, okay, what kind of ideas we have to, or what kind of ideas we want to solve, and also there kind of rank them. And then actually we did the normal design sprint process, right? So the how might we, etc. So that is.
And you did those in like 2 hour. I think I have questions. There's the sprint week where you're meeting for maybe 2 hours to do what you kind of go through the design sprint. But maybe the other 2 weeks, I read the information, kind of like what's happening. But are you meeting individually? Like you get assigned to a team, and are you just coordinating a time to meet? Like how does the first couple of weeks work? What does that look like in terms of experience?
This first 2 weeks is new, so we never had kind of a prelims, an official prelim session before, like the kickoff and the kind of product discovery session. The
Okay.
idea was is that it was done before the event actually occurred. So, but the problem was is that people weren't focused on the event. They thought that the date was the start date, and they would just come to the table and learn when they did. That this time around, we're starting on the 5th and making that week and the next week all about discovery. So the team will be able to choose a challenge anytime in those 2 weeks. But the idea is that they can individually or as small groups go on some explorations, do some activities. You don't need the whole team present to basically do it, but since they're smaller, it may be more manageable. And then on the event side of the house, what I'll do is I'll create some events that address the challenges, maybe an LDJ, but to kind of work through it and see what people's impressions are at first. And if none of the challenges or the ideas appeal to any of the teams, that even though they're placeholders, teams have the option of basically creating their own and using a method to do that. It's a pretty short half-an-hour exercise, but if we done asynchronously or not, but it'll explore, okay, maybe you have a lot of people on the team that are into sustainability, like sustainability issues. Or to Connie's interest, maybe there's something about the social good, like the United Nations initiatives that we tried doing back in November before, and you want to take on something specific from there. Or like with some of the teenage leaders that we've talked to in the past 2 or 3 months, kind of jumping onto some of their causes, like abolishing slavery, which is one of the things that Ishan Shah talked about. There's all sorts of different directions you can go. My focus on the event is about process. Is really about process and doing that. The idea is a placeholder in the virtual design sprint sense, so you're not taking something from that and moving forward with it meaningfully. The dash, however, is something that you are thinking about putting into the market, or that you have an option to do so. So that's the differentiation. The dash for prototyping really is about testing to see if your target audience wants to either purchase or sign up for something that you want to offer as a viable service alternative.
Cool.
What else you got? Connie, you have any questions?
I guess logistically speaking, I just wanted to ask, like, so on the website, since there's like 4 that have been done, I think this one that's upcoming is like the 5th one in October, right? So are there plans to continue doing this like past this point? Because like, for example, like I'm still a student, so like committing like 90 hours or like those amount of like hours in the time span might be a bit of a crunch for me as a student because I have classes. And so my first question is kind of like, are there plans to do this after this October? And the second is, how do you, like, within like teams that you're assigned to, is it like, are you working with people from all different time zones as well, like all different countries? Is it, yeah.
Yep. You'll work with people like Yasir, who just joined, who is over in the. So yeah, you'll be working with an international group of people, and sometimes it's the time zone or the time frames restrict which time zones will join. But I primarily do it on people's availability. So people tell me in like something called Doodle, which is like a scheduler. They say, okay, yeah, Doodle, when they're available, and then I look at a spreadsheet and figure out, okay, where's their commonality. And then I look from there also for the roles that people want to play and say, what do I think is a good mix to kind of run with? And towards the end of the hour, I'll show you the board I'm using to kind of visually show how the teams are being constructed. And this is for Fatima's and Tanya's benefit too, because instead of having them put a whole bunch of checkboxes in 70 different places, they can look at that as like a menu saying, all right, I think I kind of want to ride with this particular team at this time because it seems to fit my schedule on the 19th. So there's that. For going forward after October, more often than not, I'd say close to 80-90% of the time, you are not going to take that challenge forward just because you have all those, like you said, you have all these different things that are vying for your time. College, friends, holidays, travel, COVID, whatever. There's always something that's competing for your time. So I usually just say, okay, the challenge is about learning. If you're really intrinsically motivated after that, then carry that forward as the owner so that when people inquire, which they do about past GVDSs, and look at the showcase, there was one about Hydrogen Park where I got a LinkedIn connection saying, I'm a chemical scientist and I'd love to talk to your team about what they did. I usually have one point of contact that was really close to that idea, that there was really the inception of it. And then usually that's a meaningful conversation. So you don't have to get the whole group together. So I usually ask for a point of contact after it's done from the team that I can use for those references. The one thing to keep in mind that we're going to be starting, though, is this is good, brand new, and I haven't said this yet anywhere. So this is like a world event. I'm going to be doing breaking news. I just need a red banner at the bottom. I'm going to start something where every 3 months, in probably a precursor to the GVDS, I'm going to invite teams that really got together well and worked well back in kind of following Lisa Weinsberger's kind of idea, and saying, if you guys want to get together for this week, let's work out a time where you can catch up with one another after about 3 months, see where everybody is, and if nobody responds, then no big deal. But if people do want to get together and talk about where they've been, it's kind of reconnecting after the event's done, and you can catch up a bit with people that you know. So, and I may, Fatima, I may experiment and try digging into GVS 2 or 3 and see if I can get some of those teams that worked really well together and see if I can bring them back and go, how's it been after 2 years? And you never know.
I wanted to say that even although we currently don't have this practice, we get together on LinkedIn. I'm in contact with Jeroen, with Lee, with a few of different Josh. So still after first and second GVDS, we are asking and follow up with each other how what we are doing in the life, our personal life and our professional life.
Yep, I think that needs to be done. It was interesting to see how people were kind of sharing what they were doing. We were all holding up books at the end of different things we were reading and kind of doing that. So there was definitely a connection, and Lisa's part of that too. She's got that dynamic personality where people remember her and want to continue a relationship with her. So there's nothing to say that this event couldn't like give back in some fashion and say, 3 months, 4 months time, let's see where everybody is. Let's just do a touch base, do a sharing and kind of show and tell. And that's it. Just kind of catch up with everybody. And if people are alcohol inclined or they're meat inclined, like this group seems to be, everyone's got their steak. It's like, what are you eating? Oh, I'm having a delicious steak. I'm having reindeer. I'm having like cow, or, you can go through all the different meat types. Sorry, Yasir, you weren't part of that conversation. We were just getting into like carnivore.
I'm totally lost. But as long as it's food, I'm in.
Okay, there you go. Cool. So yeah, that's answer your questions, Connie. That's kind of the gist of things. Yes, here. Why don't you, since you're coming in like at the half-hour point, why don't you give everybody an introduction of who you are?
Oh, okay, sure. So sorry for being late. I'm Yasser from India, but based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Background in application development, more than 15 years. And then now currently I'm into agile coaching and working as a scrum master in a company called Tetra Pak. And a big sports fan and a design facilitator wannabe. So
you are. I think you just need to go through the motions and you're fine.
Yeah. And this is my second GVDS. So.
Oh, great.
And I still want to call you Stone Cold. I know you don't want that moniker anymore, but that stuck last time.
Let's do a deal. You can call me Stone Cold when Florian is on the call, because then we can, he has the looks, I have the attitude. So
there you go. And then I just need to provide the theme song because I'm the DJ, right? So exactly. Two of you are on the same call. I just
I think we have a deal. And I think Florian, aren't we on the same team?
Yeah, as far as I know, yes.
Oh my God!
Until
the stars are matching.
Until now, yes. So
Robert, a funny thing happened 2 days back. I just went to the mural and I was like, okay, what happened? And coincidentally, you were there on that mural at the same time and moving things around. So I said, okay, let me follow him. And I was following him, and then I saw the cursor moving towards my photograph, and I was like, no, don't you. And I thought maybe I thought I'll play a prank with you that I'll see which the card you moved, and then I'll put it back to the same place again. And I was like, Robert will go crazy. Like, what happened? I just moved it. But then I said,
you know what I would have done? If I would have seen somebody moving the card, I probably would have taken that emote, not the emote, but the drawing you see sometimes where it's like white and black, but it's the guy going like this. So I probably would put that on the board, just going, okay, I see what you're doing. For those who don't understand the reference of Stone Cold, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was part of a team canvas where you can choose an avatar, like choose like from Stranger Things, you can choose from like anime, you can choose wrestlers, and I think we had all sorts of different types. And Yasir happened to do Stone Cold Steve Austin, so I just kind of stuck because Yasir is like the complete opposite. He's just like he's very friendly, he's very, very inclusive, and everything else, and it just, I don't know, it's kind of stuck. Every time I saw Stone
But that's
Cold,
what I make you think that I am.
Yes. Yep.
Once the Zoom is off.
Then you're just basically pushing people around and just going, what?
Exactly.
What? Over and over again. Okay, so why don't I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, and this time this is going to be the board. So this is going to, for Connie, this is going to be probably new to you because you haven't seen this and you're not signed up or anything. So this is what I'm currently using to kind of build out the teams. And Fatima, you can tell right away that this is not like the old version where they're not stacking 10 to 12 on a team. This is limiting each team to 4 to 6 people. On the left are people that I don't have availability yet for. I haven't checked. I know that there's been a couple of updates where, let me zoom in a little bit. So I know that Janice Stone has put in their availability, so has Grace. And then I'm trying to find homes for both Malika and Lisa, just because they only have a limited amount of time during the schedule to work, so they're still open. But the idea is that for each team, and I mentioned this before, they all have particular online together times for 2 hours that are during daylight hours. If it's usually white, that means that it's either late at night or something that usually you would have to stay up really late to do. So if you can tell, Fatima, there's certain things that are friendly to Australia. So if you go up here, I think it was like team 1, there's Monday through Thursday is 3 to 5. This one's when this particular team is meeting. And then at the fringes down here are also 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, where these teams are currently 5, but they can stretch to 6. So if you're better on Tuesday through Friday in the mornings, then there's possibilities here. Or if your evenings are something that are probably more advantageous to you, then you have this option here as well. Given if we have late registrations that happen, which I'll usually do, then teams may go to 10, 11, and I may make some adjustments towards like moving certain people where. I know that Yasir does not want to be moved because I'm going to get like, if I start doing this, like, yeah, he's going to give the shakes.
Yeah. I'll put myself back, so.
Well, here you go. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to put lock, and only facilitators can lock. So you're not going anywhere. You're staying there.
And lock Florian also, please.
Yes. All right. I'm going to lock him as well. He's not going anywhere either until he tells me I'll fly and say, no, can't be here. So Connie, this is a representation of the virtual design sprint teams. And Tanya, this is for you as well. When you get access to this, and I'll include the link in a second, you can double click on any one of these. These are all LinkedIn cards on Mural. Once you click on that, it'll bring up their profile and what they're all about. So you can check out Iva's profile and what she's been doing lately. She had like her own kind of networking event just I think it was 2 days ago, and you can get a real good idea of who they are and who they're affiliated with. So there's that feature. And then the dash is the prototyping one, and this is an additional 2 hours. So the folks on the right-hand side here, like Yasir, is basically taking 2 hours for this and then 2 hours for this. But it's at either they're back-to-back or they're at different times. Now, Yasir, Sandy Lamb actually opted to do just the dash this time, so you're going to be working with her going up. So that's going to be, you're going to have, so Sandy Lamb is a two-time most valuable practitioner. She was voted in as the top practitioner of her peers, which we have an award ceremony for the event. So people that have gone above and beyond usually are kind of showcased, and that's also on the website as well. But I only point that out because Sandy is somebody I partner with on a lot of different things. So that'll be really interesting to see how she does this particular one. But same thing applies. There are particular times that are more advantageous. This one is more European than anything else. And then I think there's one that's more closer to Australia, and I think Iva added herself to this. So this is kind of late at night for the US, but for the other side of the world, it's getting closer to morning. So there's that. So Tanya, if you're looking at this, I'll go ahead and share the link out in a second.
I sent in I thought earlier today I went and sent my hours in, but maybe it didn't. Maybe I didn't do something right.
Oh no, if you did, that's perfect. Then you
Oh,
don't have
okay.
to worry about it, and I'll seat something for you, so you're good.
Yeah, it's
and if
mainly like from like 1 to, I'm free kind of anytime between, ideally like 3 to 6 or 7, or 1 to 3 to 6 to 7. It's just that I might be working with clients in Malaysia, so I might have to work like 8 to midnight,
Okay.
and then in the morning. So, so yeah, anything between kind of 3 and 6 or 7 or 2, you know, is flexible. So
Yeah, I'll try to find. I'll work on getting you a virtual design sprint team first,
cool.
And then the prototyping one is optional. It's only if you have the time to do it, because I've been kind of experimenting with this throughout the month. Actually, I say throughout the year, since the beginning of the year, and people like Florian have been gracious, and Yasir too, have graciously offered their time to kind of work through this process. So this is going to be working through its paces, and it's still a bit experimental, but it's the idea is that we're going to try to mix in design thinking and prototyping in the same way and really test desirability.
That's neat.
So I have a question here for regarding the dash, Robert. I mean, we were discussing this earlier the session today with Lisa. Is you know, with the design sprint, there are a lot of facilitators, experienced ones, so they have an idea how to go through it. With the dash, it's you know, it's your idea. I mean, like, you are the pioneer of it, so I mean, the knowledge of it is not that common with everyone. So how would, you know, like, the teams get advice, or if they're stuck, or how would that happen? Or are you trying to make videos or something?
I'm going to make a video for every template. So it's going to be the same way with the virtual design sprint side. So every day is going to have a video that corresponds to the template itself. There'll be embedded instructions that take from Sandy's old templates and kind of put them in a new environment. But the idea is that it's literally a walkthrough of each activity, why you're doing it, the purpose for it, and what you work through and how you do it as a team. The things to watch out for, like dangerous points, and when you know you've kind of you're set with this and you move on to the next one. So the dash will have that same video set, and that'll be on that resources page that I pointed out before, which is this one, or this one right here. So that'll have something for the dash, where this is video sets right here, and then I may include another section here for the dash, but we'll see. Or ones that are just for the templates themselves. So the templates are here, but the video helpers will be in this space. And by the way, when I mentioned Spotlight Awards, these are them right here. So these are the ones where the participants name their most valuable practitioner. They do it by vote. There's usually a survey that goes out. Mehmet was the one that had received the one for 4.0, and there's Sandy with Jerome for 3 and 2. These are best of the best. These are all quotes that were not by me. They were by other participants, and that's all I use for the content. Best of the best signals people that have gone above and beyond what they normally would do in this, and really try to stretch and be something that where they really try to put themselves into the process. And you have all sorts of previous winners here, and then we go to top 10 practitioners, which was new for the last time. So these are the ones that didn't quite meet the best of the best, but we're highly valuable from the people that work with them. And then again, we try to include everyone from previous events that put their 2 cents in, so that there's something here for people to look at. And these are all clickable. So if you want to check out Ian Thorne and see what he's all about, it goes straight to LinkedIn and showcases what he does. And it's just a real good opportunity for networking.
That's awesome. That's great.
Any other questions that you may have?
So it looks like a lot of your teams are already kind of at 5. Do you just kind of keep adding like more teams as if more people join, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so if more people are going to be joining next this upcoming week, and when I start kind of blitzing going to the mailing list saying, you got till Friday and then the doors close. Like literally it's the Indiana Jones with the stone wall coming down. You got to pull the whip out, get all the way out there. Yes. So that the max is going to be 6. So GVDS team 2 is locked. There's just going to be no other people that can go on this team. That's the max I'm going to allow for that. and then the rest of them can be as small as 4. And then on the dash side, it could be 3. It doesn't have to be a large set of people, but anywhere from 4 to 6 is probably the ideal space. So there's still one slot available for all these teams outside of this one. And then if there are more, so say if I get 10 more, I'll kind of look at the makeup of where these two are, because they're limited time, and see if there's some commonality between them and kind of build teams around those availabilities and try to even it out. With the exception of Florian and Yasir and some other people that said they want to stay on their teams, I may pull other people and make these 4 and these other ones 4. But I'm not going to declare that the teams are set until probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, so that we can start doing the kickoffs or scheduling the kickoffs for the teams based on their availability.
You can lock me for the dash also with Sandyland. Just
I'll do
saying.
that. No, I understand. I'll do that. I get it.
Robert, I have a question about the topic for or challenge for design sprint that each team going to work. So are we as a team going to choose, or we are going to run? I mean, what's the process for the challenge that we are going to work for? Okay.
Oh, I'll answer that. So there's 2 things. The first is that there's a list where people can casually put in things that they want to explore for challenges, right? So there's this. Then there's another board that Iva put in, and I think it's in Slack. That's in Miro, and I'm going to take both of them, and I'm going to pick like 3 to 5 challenges and write briefs about them, and that'll be the default set. So you can choose from any one of those as a team. That'll be a quick way of kind of saying, okay, this will be like our starting point. If the team decides this is all rubbish, I don't want to deal with any of this, we really want to go after X, or we want to do Y, then it's a team conversation. You may fall into the trap of having the strongest personality on the call basically dictating what that is. But if you do it, there'll be a mural where you can actually decide that democratically and choose which way you want to go. But probably by the time the kickoff starts, you'll have about a little over a week to explore the challenge as it's written, get involved with either event activities or just team activities to explore it. And then usually by Friday, before the week of the 19th, your team should have a pretty good idea of where they want to go with things starting Monday. At least that's the hope. So next week starts the really involved work of showcasing the challenges and ideas, and start putting on the schedule the kickoffs for that first week, where there'll be either 60 or 90 minutes. You can either attend in person, which I would recommend, or you can basically catch up if it's not during your time zone. But they're literally going to be aligned with the kickoff times are going to be aligned directly with the availability of the teams as they stated here. So I'll be looking to do a kickoff for team 2 sometime between 9 and 11 Monday through Thursday. And then I'll just ask this team, which day of the week during the week of the kickoff is more advantageous for you, and see where there's like commonality with everybody, and kind of target that date. So they have a little bit over a week to kind of prepare for that. Then week 2
we
can
have
be
option. Okay. And another question that I have is that since I joined late this time, and some of the team are formed, do you know that who is going to be facilitator, who is going to be designer or researcher, for example, for each team, or no? They are going to define that in their team meeting.
So those roles will basically be worked out on the team level. I would have some recommendations. I would actually, as part of the kickoff, there's going to be a small little graphic that shows what people have asked to do. So it's going to be reflecting the registration information. So you're going to see how many people on your team decided to be facilitators, how many wanted to be advisors. And it'll give you an idea of the makeup of the team. It isn't going to specify, say, if Linda says that she wants to be a facilitator, or if Yasir wants to be. It's going to say if you have a really strong facilitator bent on your team, then that's an opportunity for you to share the facilitator experience. So it could be where one person does Monday, another person does Tuesday, another person does Wednesday, and goes through the motions of guiding the overall team through the process and isn't responsible for the summary that happens at the end of the day in email or whatever. But then it becomes where you can actually do some applied learning in that regard. And one person is responsible for the whole can of worms throughout the week.
So it's not in this board, it's another in another board, am I right?
The kickoff one, yeah. In fact,
Okay.
we only have a couple of minutes, but why don't I go ahead and which one could I take off? It is, yeah. Let me do a new one. So I think I want to show this before we leave. This is what I'm going to show you is the team canvas. You're going to look at my workspace, and what I do is, so I've been working on a different team canvas for GVDS 5, and this is done in Mural. So if you've never worked with this before, it may seem a little foreign, but the idea is that in this, again, this is what I was talking about before with the wrestlers. So there's Yasir right there. This is a way of doing team intros. It's also, oh, hang on. I'm getting calls from my pet clinic. And then it has things like personal goals, strengths and assets, values and needs and expectations that your team will work with, and then the purpose of why you're here today. And then there's going to be something else that I'll add to this about roles, where it's going to be kind of, so this is the team canvas, but there's a different one for roles, picking tools, and it's all done within a 90-minute time frame. But by the time you get done, you have a lot of alignment on not only what you're going to be using, but also what the team wants to get out of the experience. And then that starts the conversation about the structure of the sprint you want to do and how everyone wants to do it. And you'll have about a little over a week and a half to kind of talk through that offline as well as online about what you want to do.
That's cool. You put a lot of work into this, Robert. Wow, I am so impressed. Like, this is going to be a great experience. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you. But I mean, I'm only here because of a lot of the people that took the time to help out with this. I mean, I'll do one other one really fast. And this is something that Yasir has seen. Whoops, not this one. Hang on. I was an errand click, not this one. So, and I know I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to make sure I get to the right one. So, no, that wasn't it either, but I'll go with this. So this is an example of what the Dash template looks like. So this has been refined through a couple of workshops, and the Dash is a 5-step process, but we're going to take each day of the week of the 19th to work through it. This is basically going through like what if, how, generating ideas, evaluating the ideas and putting some emphasis on that, and using an Eisenhower matrix to pick and choose which one you're going to do. And these templates will have videos that are associated with them to explain how you go through the process. So you're not just looking at this going, oh my God, that's a lot. It's where the team can kind of understand how to go through each of these major steps in discovering desirability. Just imagine that the design sprint ones are going to be the exact same fashion. They're going to be designed in the exact same way. Dark headers, areas where it emphasizes that there needs to be some discussion and elaboration online together, and where you should be at the end of the process. So just imagine the virtual design sprint templates being almost exactly like this, but they're in a way to help people kind of guide through the steps to get to some sort of conclusion.
Awesome. That's great.
So that's enough of me being a blabbermouth for a while and trying to explain everything. What I will want to do before we leave is to do a group photo. And the way we've been doing this is I do encourage virtual backgrounds. So I want to keep the crab-like dog in the background. So keep that. But some sort of pose with your hands or otherwise that kind of gives you the mood going into the weekend, and to kind of capture the entire. There you go. The Yasir is being part of the soccer experience. So.
I'm literally on the ground.
Yes, you are the ground, actually.
Transparent.
You're the ground, yeah.
He's the
So I'll give you 10
head
seconds.
on the ground.
Yeah. I'll give you 10 seconds to figure out what you want to do. Yasir is already set. Anything else? Just basically use, there you go. Snap camera. There you go. I haven't had to turn mine on. I don't think I can because I have to do it, but I'll just do me. Okay. Are you ready? So sometimes, there you go. I'm going to try to do it with one hand because I got to take the picture. 1 and 2 and 3. All right.
Oh, my picture.
Thank you very
is
much for
the
coming
absolute
by.
worst.
This is great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, it's fine. And again, if you have any questions, do message me either on LinkedIn or in Slack. If you haven't registered, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're seeing a recording, the absolute deadline last day for signing up is next Friday. So you can think about it, take your time, but hopefully this will give you a pretty good idea of what this event is all about and what's to come. So Fatima, thank you very much for getting in early and to coming with us. And likewise, Florian, for staying up late and playing with Snap Camera and being with us. Connie, was good to meet you. Same with you, Tanya and Yasir. Someday we're going to go to a football game together, hopefully. So that'll be fun. But I'll have to be with the home team that you go there. So anyway, have a great weekend all. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Bye.
YouTube and everybody else.
Everyone.
Bye.